So today's topic is the online renewals in BNI Connect. And one of the great things about the online renewals is that it really has simplified the process. Traditionally, before online renewals were made available, in order for a member to renew, the Secretary-Treasurer has to give them a paper application, which then they usually end up taking back to their office and then bringing it back sometimes the next week. Sometimes they forget about it and 2 weeks goes by or 3 weeks goes by, whatever it is. After that, the leadership team has to go and have a meeting about that and meet and then make a decision and then get back to the Secretary-Treasurer, and then they collect the payment, and then it would take a really long time, especially because most of the process was happening at the weekly meeting. So if it got, any stumbling points along the way, it would take longer and longer and longer to process. The great thing about the online renewals is that it can all be done through BNI Connect. And what's really helpful about that is, A, it can be done 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it doesn't have to happen at that weekly chapter meeting. It's a lot easier to chase an electronic application than it is to chase and track down a piece of paper. So how does this process work? Essentially, it really follows the same process that you're following with the paper, just online in BNI Connect. So let me show you what this looks like. Now, by the way, this isn't going to be entirely in PowerPoint. I'm going to also log in and show you what this looks like in BNI Connect as well. But looking at this, this is essentially the renewal process. A member completes a renewal application. So that's the same paper process, online process. If anybody has ever bought anything online, and I don't think I've met anybody recently that hasn't bought or paid for something online, that process should be pretty familiar. You fill out your name and answer a couple of questions and you're done. The next part of the process, again, this is what happens in the paper process as well, is that the membership committee has a meeting about the renewing member, and they make a decision whether or not that renewal is approved or whether it is declined. That still happens here as well. And then finally, the last step of this process is that the regional office will reconcile that payment. They will say, yes, we have received the payment for this, and this is all set and ready to go, and they will make that notation in BNI Connect as well. So let's break this into different parts of the process. So we're going to look at this from two different levels. We're going to look at this from a member perspective, and then we're going to look at it from the leadership perspective. So right now, I'm going to put my member hat on, and let's see what this looks like as a member when they're going through the renewal process. First of all, there are 4 opportunities. Actually, there's 5, but there's 4 main opportunities for a member to start the renewal process. So the first of which is 60 days before they're due for renewal, they will get an email saying, hey, by the way, you're up for renewal in 60 days. Would you like to start that renewal process now? Here's a link, click on it, and you can start the online renewal. So that's one way. Now the second way is on the regional websites, there will be a link that says Renew Now. They just have to click that link, log into BNI Connect, and they can do the renewal application. The third way is once you log into BNI Connect, there is a link on the home screen that says Renew Now. And finally, there is a link on the profile page for the membership. And actually, there's a 5th way that I mentioned, and that is if a chapter pre-approves your renewal, then they'll also be sent a reminder saying, hey, by the way, you've just been pre-approved to renew. Would you like to start that process now? So there's 5 different ways that a member could possibly start this process. Let's take a look at how this looks to a member. So from a member perspective, what we're going to do is let's log into BNI Connect as one of my members, as one of my test members. So I'm going to log in as Ricky Martin. Ricky Martin is one of my members in Antarctica. And as I said, there's a couple of different ways. So if he had gotten the email that says, please renew, he could click the link there. On the regional websites, so for example, let me just show you a regional website quick, bnimn.com, that's Minnesota. You can see here that they have a link that says Renew Now. If they click that link, that will bring them to the renewal page. There's a link right here that says Renew Now. And if I go to update my profile or I click on Options, My Account, right here where it says my membership status is active, there's a link right next to it that says Renew. No matter which one of those things I click, it's all going to take me to the same place. The renewal application. Now this is the renewal for Antarctica. Quite a bit of deflation up there in the economy. So the membership fees are only $2.50. That's actually 2.5 squids per year. But you choose whether or not you have a 1-year or a 2-year renewal. And then you just have to go through and answer the questions. Now, obviously, the questions are going to be different depending what country you live in. So in Antarctica, we have this set of questions. In Canada, there's going to be a different set. In the United States, the United Kingdom, there will be different sets of questions. But the short answer is just go through and answer the questions. Ones marked with an asterisk are mandatory. Down at the bottom, there is an option here that says check and update your member details. If I click the plus sign, that will allow me to look through my member details. You can go through and you can change these. By the way, changing your profession does not mean that you are automatically accepted for that profession. If you do change any of these details, a special notification is sent to the leadership team and to the director consultant and to the regional office saying, hey, by the way, Ricky Martin here says that he's no longer in child services. He has decided to become a life coach. So they will get an email notifying them of that change. The next thing you have to do is to accept the terms and conditions. And finally, we're going to click the button that says Proceed to Payment. As soon as I click Proceed to Payment, my application is now submitted. When the application is submitted, there's a whole bunch of emails that also go around that says that it was successfully submitted. So the leadership team is made aware of that new application. So at this point, we just need to choose our payment. If we are, for example, sending in a check or something, we're going to input a payer name. And we're going to choose how we're going to pay. If the region accepts credit cards, then the credit card would be in here. Credit card option would be in here, which would allow you to pay by credit card. Otherwise, it's going to, here's the instructions that it's giving us to, please drop your check off to the office, and then we're not there, ask for Steve. So that's how we're going to deal with the checks in Antarctica, but your region will do things differently. It's all dependent how your regional office would like to handle the payment process. Now I can go ahead and click Submit, and it lets me know that I have successfully completed this process. Now from a member standpoint, pretty much we're done. I have successfully submitted my application. One thing to keep in mind is that I have just submitted my application. I wasn't due until the 1st of the month, but if you are submitting the application late, so if you are in late status, you will be charged a $25 late fee in the United States or whatever the late fee happens to be in your particular country. All right, that's it. That's all there is to it for renewing as a member. So just to review real quick, the member, they go in, they click on any of those 5 different links in order to start the renewal process. They then choose their payment method, and a bunch of notifications are sent. And at the end of today's webinar, I will get into the actual notifications that are being sent and show you guys what's happening as far as all the notifications and who gets what and when they go out and all of that wonderful stuff. All right, so again, that is the process for a member. So now let's switch hats here for a moment and take a look at this process as it pertains to leadership teams. So again, the leadership teams, once an application has been submitted, their responsibility is to then approve or decline that particular renewal. Couple of things about the renewal process. when a renewal is done online, it also has to be approved online, and it actually cannot proceed to the final stage, which is the regional office saying, yes, this is good to go, until that approval has been done and obviously the payment has been made. Now, depending on how your region does this, and regions have the ability to customize this process a little bit, you can either pre-approve or post-approve an application. In other words, if you have a really good member that you want to, you do your membership committee meeting and say, hey, you know what, Joe's up for renewal in 90 days. We're really looking forward to that. We are going to approve him when he submits that application, so you can go in and pre-approve somebody. Or you can wait until after they've submitted. So they submit the renewal application, it comes through, and then you can go in and approve it afterwards. Note, you can't do a pre-decline, but you can decline a renewal after it's been submitted. And for the regional office, they cannot complete the process until both the payment has been made and the approval has been done. So I mentioned there is a pre-approval process. So the pre-approval, again, that means that you're going to review the application before it's been submitted, and you're going to review that membership and proactively approve that upcoming renewal. And that can be done in two different ways. So by default, the membership committee will get a reminder email for all of the people that are due for renewal in their chapter 90 days before they're due. So in a couple of days, it's not usually on exactly the first of the month, but right around the first of the month. So on June, right around the beginning of June, the membership committees will get an email saying, okay, here's all the people that are due in September, right? July, August, September, so 90 days out. And it will give them a list, and maybe that list is one person, maybe that list is 4 people. In that email, there's a link that says, would you like to approve this member? And you can click on it and it will bring you to the approval screen. I'll show you what that approval screen looks like in just a second. Now, the second way is if you didn't get that email, or it went to spam, or you deleted it by accident, or your email box has 52,000 items in it and you can't find it, that's fine. You can just go to the membership dues report and click on it that way. So let me show you what that looks like. So for this, I do need to log out as Ricky Martin. Ricky Martin's just a member, so I need to log in as one of my leadership team people. I'm going to go ahead, sign out of BNI Connect, and Alfred E. Newman, Alf, he is one of my leadership team people. Let me log in as Alf. So Alf needs to go and pre-approve a couple of members. So to do that, we are going to go to the reports, the membership dues report. So if I go to the membership dues report for the Burr chapter and click go, one of my options here, if pre-approvals are enabled in your region, right here you'll have a column that says member renewal. And if there's a little red head there, that means they're eligible for pre-approval. So you'll see here Ricky Martin, there isn't a little red head here because he is already pending, so I can't do a pre-approval for his renewal. But anybody else here, so let's see, we have L. William Brand Sr. here, who is due on June 1st. And he hasn't submitted his application yet, so I'm going to go ahead and pre-approve him, which will also have the effect of reminding him to submit his application. Oh, and I apologize, he has already been pre-approved. Let me just go back here. And let's try maybe Harvey Keitel. I've been doing this webinar a lot, so I have some pre-approved people here. So how about Chuck? I've gone through and pre-approved most of this chapter. I'm going to have to go in and unapprove some people. Here we go. Darcy Doolittle here has not been pre-approved yet, but she will be momentarily. So this is the screen for the pre-approval. You can see here that we have Darcy Doolittle, and we can see that she's in the Burr chapter. She's actually not due until November, but I'm going to pre-approve her anyway. So what it gives us here is the member performance over the last 6 months, and we can see these are taken directly from the PALMS report. I can see in the past 6 months she's been present 6 times and sent 1 substitute and has 1 referral received, no referrals given, and been thanked for $1,200 for business. I can also click on this training details, and that will bring me over to her profile. Oops, I closed out of the wrong window here. And that will bring me over to her profile, and I can see here that she has not taken any trainings. I can also click through and see maybe if she's actually filled out any of her profile, which she hasn't done. She doesn't really have any recommendations. So I can make a decision at this point whether or not I would like to renew her. But for the sake of argument here, I am going to pre-approve her anyway. Now, before I can click the button for pre-approve, I do have to certify that all necessary membership performance reviews and discussions pertaining to this renewal have taken place. Keep in mind, what we're doing right now is we're registering the committee's decision. We are not doing a vote. I repeat, we are not doing a voting process here in BNI Connect. What we're doing is that the leadership team, the membership committee, needs to have a separate in-person meeting to discuss these memberships. Then we simply render the decision in BNI Connect. This is usually done by the vice president. Now, as part of this process, we can also annotate whether it's a conditional approval or whether a control letter has been sent. Now, both of those, all that does is put a note in the membership that it was a conditional approval. Whatever those conditions are, that is between your membership committee and the member. So, and your own regional process around that. BNI Connect is not going to monitor that. It's not going to do anything with it. It is just going to mark it in the record that that was a decision that you guys made. When I'm all set, I'm going to go ahead and click pre-approve. And that's all there is to the pre-approval process. When I'm all done, I can close out of that report, and we're finished with the pre-approvals. All right, at that point, again, the member will be sent a notification saying, hey, Darcy Doolittle, you've just been pre-approved by your membership committee. Congratulations, would you like to go and start your renewal now? At which point they'll be able to do so. So the other option is that the member has submitted their application and now they need to be post-approved. Just like Ricky Martin, he submitted his application and now he needs to be post-approved. And there's 2 different ways that we can do that. The leadership team will be notified saying, hey, great news, Ricky Martin has just submitted an application. Would you like to go and approve that application, that renewal now? The second way is if, again, you didn't get that email or deleted it, you can go to the View Pending Applications screen. So I actually happen to be on the membership committee for the Burr chapter, and here we have a note saying, congratulations, a new renewal has been received for Ricky Martin. Please click below to get logged into BNI Connect and process that approval. So I can click there if I'd like to, or if I'm in BNI Connect, I can go to the Pending Applications function. That's going to be actually under Operations. And once I go to Operations, I go to Manage Memberships, View Pending Applications, because now he has a pending application on file. I can see here we have Ricky Martin. He paid by check. It's a renewal. And I can see that the status is submitted. So what I need to do at this point is to approve that application. And this is really, it's exactly the same as the pre-approval with a few minor twists. Again, I can still click through to their record, but there is the application form now attached up here. If you need to, as a leadership team, if you want to save this in your chapter box, if you want to print it out or something like that, you're welcome to do so. And here's what it looks like. It's a PDF file here. And you can read all the answers, see the terms of payment, and that they accepted the general policies. At that point, once again, I have to certify that we have had a meeting and whether it's conditional. You will notice also here, because I changed details It says this renewal application was submitted with changes to the name, company, or category. Take that into consideration. And as I mentioned, you also get an email regarding that, and I could see that he changed his category from child services to coach, children's services to life coach. All that's left is for me to approve that. And now we'll see in the pending applications, if I go back, it is now approved. Now it will stay here until the regional office has done their reconciliation, and then it will not appear in the list anymore. And that is really all there is to the leadership team process. So just to review, the membership committee reviews the application and the performance, and then the leadership team member, usually the vice president, but the president and secretary usually have permissions to back up the vice president if he's not available or she's not available. But they then record that decision. And finally, the region reviews and reconciles the payment. And that, my friends, is the leadership team process in BNI Connect. Now, as I mentioned, there are a number of emails that happen during this whole process. Before the renewal, there's an email that goes to the membership committee. There's the one that goes to the member at 60 days. There's also an option in those emails that the member could opt out if they want to. On that renewal email, it says, I do not wish to renew at this time. They can click on that link. Now, if they do that, all it does is mark it in their record that they opted out, and it will also send you a notice saying this member has opted out. That does not stop a membership. It does not, drop the member from the chapter in any way. It just does that notification. Even if a member is choosing not to renew, I mean, it could be for a good reason, by the way. I mean, it could be that they're moving, or they got a job promotion, or they've gotten so busy they have to hire other people and like to put somebody else in the chapter. It just means that they can still stay for the remainder of their membership, even if they choose not to renew. There's the pre-approval email. During the online renewal, you get notified when the renewal has been done, and when the payment's been made, and when they've confirmed the payment, and when it's been received, or if they've made changes to their details. And finally, after the online renewal, there are some announcements that happen as well. And if you're curious as to which person gets which emails, if you happen to be, for example, a secretary treasurer on the call with us today, you would get, all of these emails under the secretary treasurer. Cool. And that, in totality, is the online renewal process. By the way, if you'd like a copy of this PowerPoint, you are more than welcome to it. If you look in the handouts section of today's webinar, you can see that I do have a couple of different PDF files that outline some of this process that you can take back with you. There's also a PowerPoint that goes through this process as well, in case you need to utilize this in your region, if you need to teach it or show it as well. So what I'd like to do now is to open this up to any questions. We are just about at the bottom of the hour, so I'd like to say if you have any questions about this process whatsoever, I'd love to answer those questions now. While you are thinking of any additional questions, a good referral for me is to please let people know about these webinars, to either review the recordings or to catch a live series. Now, if you'd like to know when our live webinars are happening, or if you'd like to see the recordings, all you need to do is click this question mark in the upper right-hand corner of BNI Connect, and that will take you to the support site. And on the support site, you will see some categories. Oh, I have a, let me go to my other, it's because I'm logged in with another account right now, so I apologize for that. let me do this. Okay, so this brings you over to the support site, and here is the different things. So if you click on live and recorded webinars, that will take you over to our upcoming webinars. I will have the new schedule for next month posted. Right now, again, we had our last webinar today for this month, which was the online renewals. This whole series will be repeated again in its totality tomorrow, next month. And the other thing is you can see the recorded webinars. So you'll see all of May's recordings here. And as soon as I can get these last couple of webinars converted, I will have them uploaded into this recorded webinars. So with that, do we have any questions at all? Steve reminds people to please be sure to submit your renewal application before submitting their payment. So thank you, Steve. All right, well, if we don't have any additional questions, what I'm going to do is say thank you guys so very much for being on the webinar today and for learning more about this online renewals process. I do look forward to seeing you on a future webinar, and in the meantime, happy connecting.